Hi there, this is David, and welcome to my first impressions of Pokemon Violet and Scarlet, released for the Nintendo Switch. Over the years, I've had a love-hate relationship with the Pokemon series. My very first entry was the first one, Pokemon Blue, which released in 1996 whenever I was in high school. And while I played it and even bought the guide for it, I wouldn't exactly say that I enjoyed it. In fact, I never did beat it. There were just too many other, better games out there for me than to fool around with Pokemon. Though, over the subsequent years, I have dabbled in the series here and there, most recently in Pokemon Arceus, which I actually thoroughly enjoyed. So whenever I heard that Pokemon Violet was going to be more of that same open world, but with a traditional twist, I figured, what the hell, I'll give it a shot. Upon beginning, you're greeted with the character creator, and while it might seem like there are plenty of options, I never did find one that really looked like me. And in all honesty, they all just kind of looked super dorky, and I didn't like any of them. They all looked like they needed like a kick me sign taped to their back, especially with those high socks and the safari hat. The next thing that I noticed was that there wasn't any voice acting either. And I do know that this is a long-running series, and that they do try to keep their traditions intact. But with how much money this franchise rakes in, they can afford to pay some voice actors here and there. For the first few hours, you're given one linear path to follow, where you're introduced to your neighbor, who I affectionately call Dora the Explorer, as she's constantly bugging you, running around, and just telling you to explore things and get into fights. So together you set off for the school, fighting and capturing Pokemon along the way, while picking up tons of items littered about the field. If you've played any Pokemon before, you know exactly what you're doing here. It almost feels like you're playing one of those Game Boy games, but on a big boy console. It's too bad though that it doesn't feel like that console's actually the Switch. It feels much more like the Wii. You have these stuttering, weirdo, janky looking characters and cheap graphics that are really very apparent anytime you go into any sort of major population center, just like the school. And that is a lot coming from me, because I personally am not really a graphics person. They just don't matter to me. So whenever I notice that the graphics are kind of lacking, then there's really something wrong. I feel like Xenoblade Chronicles was prettier than this, not to mention more ambitious, and it wasn't buggy either. So hopefully Game Freak does come up with a patch soon enough to fix these issues. Soon enough, you and Dora will run into a mysterious, powerful Pokemon who basically exists to serve as your mode of transportation. You can ride him like a motorcycle, and even gain more abilities for him whenever you get various magical herbs. The battles are unabashedly turn-based, and they really haven't changed all that much from Pokemon Blue, though I do dare say they were actually faster on the Game Boy. Many times I found them to be unbearably slow, especially if you have a status effect like Poison, or if you want to change out your Pokemon. Things just seem to take forever, and there's no fast forward either. However, they have introduced a pretty neat feature where you can throw your Pokemon out into the field to go on a genocidal rampage, destroying everything in sight and gaining items and experience in the process. It's also nice that the game tells you exactly what moves are effective against the opposing Pokemon once you have them recorded in your Pokedex. Unfortunately, once you capture a Pokemon, they aren't fully restored, so you probably don't want to put them onto your team right after you capture them, which does bring me along to another wish of mine. I do wish that there was like a little marker above the Pokemon on the field before you got into battle with them, which would let you know if you've already captured that Pokemon or not, because my OCD was going into overdrive here. I wanted to capture every single one, but I couldn't remember which Pokemon I already had, and which ones I was still trying to capture. After the introduction's over and you leave school, you can go anywhere your little heart desires. But more than likely, you're going to want to just follow the numerical order that the game wants you to, because level scaling is not a thing here. I mean, you could conceivably go to the 8th gym first, but you're probably just going to get slaughtered if you do. The regions are numbered though, so it's pretty easy to figure out exactly where you're supposed to go. But in addition to the gyms, there's a whole lot more to do, because there's actually really 3 different quest lines. First, of course, the gyms, then the evil Team Star, whose 5 bases you need to take down, as well as the 5 Titans, who are guarding the mysterious magical herbs. You collect those herbs and you increase the powers of your motorcycle Pokemon to ride up the walls, cross rivers, or even fly through the air. Then, there's Terra Raids scattered all about the field, which you can go into with local co-op friends or online friends. Or if you're like me and you have no friends, the game will provide them for you. Here you can kind of fight super bosses to gain more experience, items, as well as unique Pokemon. As this is my first impressions, so far I've played through roughly about 8 hours or so of the game, and I am showing no signs of stopping. I've had a blast with this, and I cannot wait to go from area to area, beating gym leaders up, kicking Team Star's asses, and unlocking new abilities for the motorcycle Pokemon to thoroughly explore Palkia and unravel the mysteries of Area 0. So, that's it for my impressions of Pokemon Violet and Scarlet. If you like this video and wanted to hear on the channel, please consider supporting me over on Patreon for exclusive videos and early access to my content, heading on over to Twitch for some streaming fun, or coming on over to my Discord to chat and hang out. The links to them all can be found in the description. This has been David. If you like this, please like, comment, and subscribe, and have a good day.